I'm back to talk about more movies from the 90s that deserve our nostalgia. Now we're at 1996. Like and follow for the rest of the decade and go back and look at the previous years. I did a lot of great film recommendations. As I always say, this is my list, not yours. I'm probably going to leave a lot of movies out that a lot of people like. Feel free to drop them in the comments. Let's talk about them. Anyway, I'm starting off with Brian De Palma's Mission Impossible. Who would have thought that this movie would have launched such an incredible and consistently great franchise with only really one bad installment? This stars Tom Cruise, who is now a producer on the franchise and really kind of drives them forward. It does feature Ving Rhames, who is OG. He's been in every single movie. And Jean Reno and Jon Voight. This is a little more subdued than what the future installments would be, but a lot of the heart of this movie still remains in every film moving forward. All right, we got to talk about Scream. I love this movie. I know I come on here pretty often and throw some shade at it, and I still throw shade at it. It still had a really bad influence on horror in general in that era, but you can't fault this first movie. They were just trying to do something cool. Wes Craven I love. Matilda is such a fun movie, and the one thing that Matilda does right that I really love is it balances that sort of Grimm's fairy tales kind of story of, kid story, but underlying darkness that older readers, older viewers of this movie can really connect with. There's a campiness to it and a surreal atmosphere that's just so much fun. This is coming out in 4K and I can't wait to buy it. From Dusk Till Dawn is one of the best blending of two different genres ever in cinema. This movie successfully blends the thriller heist genre with straight up horror. Starts out as a Quentin Tarantino grindhouse thriller and ends at a vampire horror fest. We've got George Clooney, Quentin Tarantino in this movie. Quentin Tarantino doing double duty as a co-producer and co-writer, also as a star here. Clooney doing a great job, really adding some real interesting character to the story. Like, he has specific body language that really makes his character unique. You just got to watch it to see. And then, of course, my favorite thing, this movie really cemented my love for the lovely Selma Hayek. I love Richard Donner as a director. He's done some amazing movies, some of my favorites, like retro movies. Now we get to Twister. Twister is the first sort of disaster film blockbuster that I can remember seeing, and it holds up. It's still really fun today. Obviously, the CGI effects that are in here are a little bit dated, but overall, they still look pretty good. I'm surprised. If they ever touch this thing, and they keep saying they're gonna, they can't do it without Helen Hunt. Sorry about it. The Rock is another successful Michael Bay movie. We've got Nicolas Cage, Sean Connery, and Ed Harris here. It's big 90s action with really great actors, each taking turns chewing the scenery. And I mean it. Each one of these actors chews the scenery in this film at least once. Very fun action movie, very 90s. Okay, here's your cult classic. David Cronenberg's Crash. Now, this is not going to be for everybody because it is a weird movie, but I love it. It is so uncomfortable to watch at times. You've got James Spader and Holly Hunter playing kind of a couple who gets aroused at really bad car crash sites. I'm going to leave it at that. It's a very edgy, sexually charged movie. It's Cronenberg. It's body horror. I love it. It's beautifully shot. And there's a beautiful 4K out there if you want to give it a go. Time for some classic Michael J. Fox here. The Frighteners is such a fun movie. It's directed by Peter Jackson. Basically, you have a man whose wife dies in a car crash, and after that, he finds that he can communicate with the dead. And what does he do? He uses that ability to con people. And everything's going great until a demonic spirit shows up. Does anybody remember when the Wachowskis did movies that were just movies and not big, epic, events? Bound is such a great movie. It brings us the delightful Jennifer Tilly and Gina Gershon, two lovely women and really fantastic actors here, playing two characters that concoct a plan to steal a bunch of mob money and pin it on somebody else, Joe Pantoliano, who's like the perfect person to pin things on in the 90s. This is very well known for a very interesting sex scene. But overall, this is just a really fun movie. It's got the Wachowski style to it, but it's not so like coded in CGI and visual, stuff popping off. This is just a good movie. If you haven't seen it, you really should take a look. And finally, we have The Long Kiss Goodnight. I miss Gina Davis. She's been retired for a long time. We got Samuel L. Jackson here too. She plays a woman living her life. Little does she know, though, her memory has been erased. When it finds its way back into being, she realizes, oh wait, I was a secret agent and I was a badass fighter. This is a fun movie, kind of underappreciated now. It's good action, good melodrama. It's simple. It's not too complicated. It gets right into the action. It's kind of a road trippy kind of chase thing happening. highly recommend this one. These two work so well together. I would love to have seen a franchise based off this movie. That's my picks from 1996. Feel free to drop the movies you think I missed and should be on here. I know there's at least one that people are going to complain about. In the comments, let's talk about it, and stay tuned for 1997. Like and follow.